Hmm. Hello? Okay. Now the mic is working. Hold on. We'll get the webcam working. ODT. Game I played in very little of. It was in this was supposed to go a lot smoother. I'm still trying at this, so there we go. Here. Can you see me now? How about now? Good. Ow, my eyes. Hold on, I'm in the middle of the screen. Oh, you can see the mess behind me. Deal with it. Part of this, okay, yeah, that's fine. And so it begins.
This is the emergency broadcast system. This is not a test. Repeat, this is not a test. Citizens are advised to take the following steps. Stay alert to news media events or local emergency alert notifications. Avoid contact with the infected. If evacuation is impossible, move indoors and initiate in-place sheltering. Use a gas mask, or if none are available, cover your mouth and nose with a clean cloth that has been soaked with a solution of 1 cup water and 1 tablespoon of baking soda. Also, cover bare skin and make sure that cuts and abrasions are covered. If exposed, remove clothes and seal in a plastic bag. Immediately wash off using copious amounts of warm, soapy water or a diluted 10-to-1 bleach solution.
Okay, that joke ran its course. So I'm calling this an emergency review. Sorry if you guys are high there. There's not much I can do about it right now. I'm not super set up. This is an emergency. So this is an emergency review because I've had this guy. So this is Farmery. And this actually isn't beer. This is their malted soda craft brewed. What? Malted craft brewed soda. Okay, all right. Yeah, it's just the way things go. There we go. And this is the pink lemonade. Now, the reason this is an emergency broadcast is because I am not enjoying this at all. Now, let me lead in with 2 seconds. Ow. Okay, now I'm in character. All right, so let me lead in with, I want to say this about Farmery. I actually very much enjoy Farmery. I really do. Okay, I shouldn't say that either. Okay, backtrack. Farmery is a very good example of a very boring beer. If somebody says to me, I don't like beer, or I want to, or they say I want to try beers, I usually point to Farmery. Everything except for the one in the blue can. It's not a pale. Blue can bad. Just remember that, blue can bad. So, Farmery is a very boring example of very well done beers. So for me, they're usually a little meh. But they're still good. They're enjoyable. Their original Farmery, which I believe is a Pilsner. I had their stout, which was, again, very boring. I haven't seen it actually for a while. I don't know if they still make it. But at any rate, one of their product lines that I actually very much enjoy is their very summery kind of. They've got a hard iced tea, which is awesome, and then they've got a. I can't remember. There's something else in that line. Yeah, like a lemonade. I think it's a pink lemonade actually, which makes this all the more surprising. And so, just a little background. Farmery is a Manitoba-made beer-ish. They have been brewing long before the explosion. Well, I shouldn't say long before, but they were sort of precursors to the craft brewing explosion in Manitoba. So it was actually a pair of guys, and they actually were on Dragon's Den twice for two different things. One of them was for the Farmery Brewery. And they actually owned, I believe they were brothers, and they owned Lux Saloon on Osborne, which was a place we regulared back in my game night days. Not that my game night days are over, but just, magically game night days. But I digress. So they started brewing this beer, Farmery, and obviously they highlighted it at their restaurant there that we regulared, so became very familiar with it. Again, it was never a bad beer. It was always it's good beer, It's not great. It's not something to phone home on. I'm not going to pick it out of a line of specialties, but if I got to buy a 6-pack of something, it's a good choice. And so, but at that time, it wasn't brewed in Manitoba. They would harvest all the stuff in Manitoba, which was interesting. That's why they call it an estate brewery. But they would ship it out to Muskoka and get it brewed at one of my favorite breweries, non-Manitoba breweries, Muskoka Brewery in Muskoka, Ontario. So they're working on, and I don't know if it's done, I think it's done at this point, but making a brewery in Manitoba to brew it here. And recently I've been seeing these guys at Superstore. Basically non-alcoholic, malted, craft brewed, whatever. I think they've got a root beer, they've got this, I think they've got an iced tea as well. And considering how much I enjoy the iced teas and that, I figured, hey, what the heck? What the hey? I'll give it a try. I'll give it a go. So it's been sitting in my fridge for a while. I've been waiting for the right moment, and I got my super healthy soup from Freshie because I didn't want to cook, and I wanted something healthier than not because I've been feeling great lately. So, and then I go to get a drink, and I'm like, you know what? This seems fancy enough for it. Well. So what's interesting about it, it almost tastes like they made the alcoholic version and then removed the alcohol, because there's the pardon me, there's the overwhelming sweetness. Although it's not quite overwhelming, but it's a very almost sickly sweet. And then there's this undertone. Yeah, it's just almost this, almost insidious. Actually, you know what? I'm kind of turning around on this. This might not be as much an emergency as I thought, because now that I've separated it from the soup a little bit more, there might have just been a bad pairing. Hold on. I gotta. I mean, it's still there. So it's whatever is the malts in there is just not working with the sweetness, right? Because, and it might just be me, I'm used to that maltiness signaling that it's beer, so I'm not expecting so much a soda, and it being so overly sweet, and it's this weird thing where that overly sweetness is very distinct and separate, where's my hand? Separate from the malt's flavor. So I'm getting both, and they're almost clashing in a very unappealing way, kind of like watching a Michael Bay Transformers movie where it basically just looks like two inverted paper shredders having an argument. So I will say it got a little bit better. This might not be the emergency I played it out to be. It's getting a little bit better as the soup, but unfortunately I still got to eat all this soup. It's kind of tasty, actually. Like, it's not great, but for how healthy it is, and it wasn't even that expensive, I'm actually okay with it. But this isn't about soup. This is about not beer. Anyways, so yeah, that's the emergency broadcast. I hope that the audio came through, because I don't know if it did or not. But hey, you know what? That's what that is. So we're gonna outro with some songs now.
Thought you really loved me, guess I was wrong. Thought you'd never leave me, guess I was wrong.
Okay, that was
Waited like forever to be your plus one, but I guess
we're just gonna call it. Bye.
left me
Stop,
at the
stop.
party.
Okay, maybe we should.